Every financial decision that you've ever made comes down to one thing: avoiding pain or moving towards pleasure.
Both those statements are right, but one's more powerful than the other.
Which drives you harder?
Even the richest man in the world could do more and has more ambition.
Yeah.
Even for Elon Musk, I'm sure there's some pain in his life.
Fear keeps you alive. It forces you to protect what you have and avoid risk.
I think when you overcome pain, there's pleasure.
So which is more dangerous? Fear that makes you sell too early if you're an investment, or greed that makes you hold too long?
Pain keeps us stuck in survival, but it's capped. But the pleasure,
Post-traumatic broke syndrome. My fear was at the end of my life, I would be on my deathbed knowing I was about to die, and I would... Welcome everybody to the Lunchtime Investor. We are really pleased to have James back on this episode due to popular demand. Welcome back,
thank you
James.
very much.
Remember what this is all about: you eat and we do the talking. Although I'd rather it were the other way around.
It would be nice to be the other way.
You just had a pizza, you can't talk.
I did, it's great.
We're going to be talking about pleasure versus pain. Now, this is a really important episode for people out there in terms of motivation. Like, what motivates you the most? And generally speaking, as a human, it tends to be either more pain or more pleasure. So what gets you motivated? Let's talk about it. Every financial decision that you've ever made comes down to one thing: avoiding pain, like you would do running away from pain, or moving towards pleasure. Have a think about that. What motivates you? Have a think about that. Okay. What's coming up is why investors act on pain. Why? Or pleasure, which is greed, really. Pain is fear. There's always those two things. All those things. How different motivations can impact long-term gains. You need to know yourself, really, if you want to be really successful. Know thyself, as the Oracle says, and how to focus your aspirations towards investing success. So I've got a question for you, James, is which drives you harder? The fear of not having enough money, okay, so that's the fear, or making more to live a better, more extravagant life, would you say?
They both drive me. There's no doubt they both drive me. Which one drives me more?
You're really playing it safe here. Yeah, which one more?
Which one more?
Yeah.
Probably making money to live more extravagantly.
Okay, so I think you're more pleasure-driven.
I'm pleasure-driven.
Have you always been that way?
I probably have always been that way, but I've always had my pain covered. Pain being, can I live? But then you want the pleasure is what drives you to go even further.
Oh, I see.
To try that little bit extra.
So you would say for most people, it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, isn't it? Like
exactly that.
1960,
exactly what I was thinking.
68. It's basically once your needs are met, your basic needs like food and water and having a roof over your head. So that could be, you need that, that drives you. But then afterwards, you look more outside.
Yeah, of course you do. I think that your basic needs to be covered will take you to a certain level, but that's capped. Let's call that, you're going to cap out at that point.
Yeah.
Thereafter, you're going to go for the pleasure.
Okay.
Thereafter, you're going to really strive to go more, and there's always more to achieve in life.
Okay.
And surely that ambition is going to drive you more.
Yeah, I agree. I think at the beginning, especially when you're struggling financially, it depends where everybody is. Everybody's in a different situation. I think that most people, if not all people, is that I need to get out of this situation. I need more money. And there's a lot of pain involved, and you'll do quite a lot.
But how do you define pain? Because if we can define it, there's tangible pain, which I know you like, and there's intangible pain.
Do you now? How do you know that?
Well, I've met some of your exes, Marcus. And there's tangible pain and there's intangible pain.
Yeah.
What type of pain are we actually referring to here?
I think it has to probably be mental pain. So it's quite intangible.
Yes, because I think physical pain, you could argue, is pleasurable in some circumstances and not in others. But if we're going to go down the line...
a lot about this, James.
You and I have had many discussions.
Have we?
You've been educating me. But if we're going to talk about the intangible pain, of providing for your family and your children, then 100% that's going to get you to a certain level, but that will cap you out.
Honestly. Okay, fine. Let's talk a little bit more about this, because most investors, let's face it, they're not really rational. By the way, I think I'm more... when I first started, I was definitely more pain motivated. But I think it's funny, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So the way I look at it is more like a rocket in 3 phases. The first phase, as you're trying to leave the Earth's atmosphere, that's when you need the most energy, you need the most effort, you need the most, you're running around like crazy. That is more pain motivated. Once you're in orbit, it's kind of a mixture of pain and pleasure. But once you get towards your goals, like you're starting to enjoy going out, buying new clothes, etc., you actually like the pleasure stuff. In phase one, you don't even have any of those things. You see other people, of course, but you're so focused on getting away from where you are, the orbit that you're in, that it's a lot more pain. So Maslow hierarchy, I use a kind of a rocket analogy in 3 phases.
You're going to try hardest probably to get out of that pain.
Yes,
I agree.
and you have to, because it
But
is more difficult.
it is more difficult, of course. And if you can't live, you can't live. However, once you've actually achieved that, is it not more of a drive to try and aspire
Yes.
to become more and more and more?
Correct.
It's uncapped.
So yes,
Even the richest man in the world could do more and has more ambition.
yes.
However, once you've actually established that basic getting rid of the pain, the food, the water, the shelter,
Yeah.
then that's done.
So,
What do you do
so I
after?
guess, are we kind of saying, and I know we're generalizing, that you can almost tell where somebody is financially, in which stage of their life? Could that be the case? Could that be that if they're more pleasure driven, it's generally because they've actually at a stage where they're able to afford the pleasure, the nice cars, the nice, going out, helping people, supporting charities, etc. And they want more of that. They love that. Whereas somebody who's there might not even have gotten these things.
I think the reality is it's going to be a combination of both.
Yeah.
No one wants to go back to not having any money.
So the pain is always going to be there. No one wants to go back to it.
Of course, it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Even for Elon Musk, I'm sure there's some pain in his life. But the pain is not the same pain as someone who hasn't got shelter, who lives homeless.
Absolutely.
It's a different type of pain.
There's a word for that, by the way, for people who they've already got the money, but they're still like a little bit pain driven. They have post-traumatic broke syndrome.
Post-traumatic broke syndrome.
Yeah.
So they've been broke, they come out of it, and they're so fearful of going back to that situation.
They can't fully
And is that-
enjoy their money. They can't fully spend a lot of money.
Yeah, and that's a big motivator for them.
They're fear motivated.
Yes.
They'll carry on going, not because of pleasure,
But is
but
that,
because of
is
fear.
that the right type of motivation?
That's
Do you
that's the
get
interesting
your head in
discussion.
an absolute spin? Oh my Lord, I can't go back to that situation.
Does it hold us back even?
Does it hold you back?
So let's have a look at that, because I think we've got something.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Most investors aren't rational. They're ruled by pain and pleasure, right? We can clearly see this. However, one of these typically is seen as a bigger influence. So let's play this video here, because I think it kind of explains it.
Either move towards pleasure or away from
pain, I guess.
pain.
Yep. Yep.
So what I do an awful lot is we go through the construct of a conversation where we kind of build a bigger fear of what happens if you stay where you are, what you're going to lose, what's going to happen. So it actually builds up a bigger fear for, holy shit, if I stay where I am now,
Yes.
oh my God, my wife will be unhappy, my kids will not respect me. It's an ethical influence in forgo. So is the pain of moving forward towards that place, because pleasure doesn't always get people moving forward.
So
Pleasure. I disagree with that.
pleasure doesn't always. Well, again, it
disagree
depends
with
where
that.
you are in your life. We've just ascertained that, and I mean, for me, I have to tell you, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, by the way. I really am not. I'm actually wondering whether, because I used to be very fear based, so most of my actions.
Fear of what? When you were fear-based, fear of what?
So this is interesting because it has a bit of it has a bit of vision in there. So my fear was at the end of my life. I mean, this is awful thinking about it. In the last 5 minutes, I would be on my deathbed, knowing I was about to die, and I would then suddenly go, "Oh my God, I've screwed it up. I've done the wrong things. Massive regret." And I didn't do the things I wanted to do, didn't approach the people I wanted to, didn't set up the business I wanted, didn't make as much money, didn't help as much people, etc. 5 minutes of screaming, and then I die.
And that's your fear.
That was my
You
fear.
didn't do enough.
That was my fear, that I didn't do enough.
That was your fear,
Yeah.
and that's your fear no longer because
as
you've
much.
made money.
Not
you've
as
helped
much.
other people.
Yes, because I've started helping people, and therefore I want to do more of that. So now it's moving more towards pleasure, but there's still that fear there.
So which one's the bigger motivator?
I think I might, if I had to, because people say, oh, it's the same. It's never the same. It's a 51-49. I would say it's still pain.
But then, can I ask the same question? Slightly, which one is the more rational motivator? Because if it's so overpowering, you're not going to have rational motivation, if I can make up that word.
I think I'm coming around due to this discussion, I'm starting to realize that actually I need to work on actively, consciously, not just letting it happen, on switching from that, 49-51 to that 51-49 and more, much more towards pleasure, because what you don't want to do, and I don't want to do, is live in constant fear and pain.
True.
Okay, interesting. But let's argue a little bit about this, right? The fear of staying where you are surely must be a strong motivator, James.
The fear of staying where you are. It is. If it's a different type of fear, it's a different type of motivator. Is if I've got what I need, and if Elon Musk stays where he is today, I think he's in a pretty happy place.
Okay, so again,
If someone who is sleeping on the streets, he doesn't have clean water to eat, stays where they are, absolutely not. That is a huge fear and a massive motivator to pick themselves up and carry on and do something with their lives.
so what I'm seeing here, like, let me try and figure this out. Like, that person who's on the street that you just mentioned will do whatever it takes. Well, generally speaking, a normal person, define normal, will do whatever it takes to get out of that. And then once they have some, could it be that they then slow down? I think I have a fear of slowing down because I'm thinking that if I relax too much, if I take too many holidays, if I spend all my money, etc., and so forth, I will lose my mojo. I'll lose the reason to keep pushing, and I'll start slowing down. And at the end of my life, go, oh my goodness, I didn't achieve everything I wanted to.
No, because you're always going to want to do more. You're always going to want to. I think the desire to achieve more is always another mountain. There's always another pound to make. There's always more in life.
Yes, but the pain
And
isn't as
it's-
real though. Yeah, but you don't have that pain. It's like,
But it's
yeah, I'll make
perpetual.
some more money. Yeah, but with pain you have to act. Look, let's say somebody says, I mean, we talk about this at the workshops. Let's just say somebody says, I would love to be financial. They always say this. They always start on what I call the left-hand side, which is the pleasure side. I say, why do you want to be successful? They always start off with, because I want more time. I want more. They don't say because I don't have enough time. They always say, I want more time because I want to be financially independent. And I said to them, is that because you're not financially independent or because you want financial? And they always focus on the pleasure. They've never seen the pleasure. They don't know what it's like to be a millionaire or multi-millionaire, and therefore they will stop. Why? If you cannot feed your children tomorrow, you can't stop. You have to.
You can't, and you will continue going. But it's a different type of motivation. I think we're trying to compare apples with pears.
Okay, interesting.
There's a motivation of survival,
Yeah.
and we're all going to give our lives to that type of motivation.
Yes, no, I understand.
You're not going to give your life to
No.
buy
But
another
what
Ferrari.
I say to them is, I say, right, let's list the right-hand side. Let's list all the pain. And they go, well, it's the opposite. And by the way, people struggle with this. So I said, well, it's not that difficult, because if you have the left-hand side, I want to spend more time with my children. Therefore, the other side is what? I don't have enough time currently to spend with my children. It's easy, right? And then what I do is I make that even more painful. So the whole idea of motivating yourself is to make the pain even worse than it is, and make the pleasure even better than it is, in order
Sorry,
to...
You said make the pain worse than it is, as in get rid of the pain.
No, worse, make it worse. Don't get
more
rid of...
pain to motivate you.
Yes, more pain, because we would... What they said in the video is you will do more to run away from your pain
You'll do more. Okay, yep.
than actually run towards pleasure, because you don't know
Yes,
what the
you will,
pleasure
but
is,
it's
but you know
capped.
what the pain is.
But as soon as you run away from that danger or that pain,
Yeah.
you're going to stop.
No,
And then you need another driver,
but that's
which
why I
is the
said you
pleasure.
need to have both.
Yeah, exactly. You need both.
You need both, and people only have one, and they wonder why they're not successful.
So here's one without an innuendo in it. Is pain sometimes pleasurable? Because if, for example,
It's the third time.
you climb a high mountain,
Yeah.
it's bloody hard work. It's incredibly painful.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But yet the pleasure you derive from achieving and succeeding to that end
Mhm.
is immense.
Yes, I
So
agree.
the pleasure and the pain are actually
It's both. You
Both,
need both.
together.
You need both.
'Cause
What most people
getting
do, of
over the
course,
pain
when
is
they have the
pleasurable.
pain,
Yep.
right? What they do is they go out to try and forget it. They drink to try and forget it. They watch a film to try, but nothing's changed. So make it. So face it. Say, do you know what? My life is shit. You know what? I don't have enough money.
then you get pleasure from actually overcoming that, right?
Yes.
So they're interlinked.
It has to be both, and people always go to the pain.
So I think when you overcome pain, there's pleasure. There's pleasure in overcoming the pain.
Mm-hmm.
However, would you say once you're well into that pleasure zone,
Mm-hmm.
that the pain is still interlinked and a motivator?
I think, but less. And those are the 3 stages of my rocket. Number 1, it's more pain.
Yep.
Number 2, it's equal.
Yep.
And on number 3, when the moon's gravity starts pulling you in, it becomes easier because you've got the money and you enjoy doing things. It is more pleasure. It is more pleasure. By the way, your example of when, because you went up to Mount Everest,
Yes, I
right at the
used to
top.
be a climber all the way to the
Yep.
top.
Just for a date. I mean, you got to
Yes,
listen
it
to the
was.
story. Huh?
It was just for a day,
Just to get the date.
just to get a date.
The things we have to do nowadays. Flip a neck.
I know.
And then
I know.
imagine you were very, very close to it, okay? And you were like, and then you thought maybe you couldn't do it. Wouldn't you have a lot of pain thinking, oh my goodness, I am not going to achieve it. I'm not going to achieve it. Come on. Do you know what? I'll tell you a true story. I was climbing only Mount Kilimanjaro, right? And the last thing from Gilliman's Point to Uhuru Peak, right at the top, I said to the group, I'm done. I have nothing more to prove. I am absolutely done. And the buddy from business school that I was with, he said, you know what, Marcus, you can, but unfortunately, one of the guides has already gone down with the other puking people that were vomiting everywhere.
Yep.
We've only have one guide left, right? And he said, therefore, if you go down now, we will not be able to go up.
So you're going to ruin it for the whole team.
Yes. And I went, I
And that
looked at him and I
motivated
go, you mother, like this, right? And then I went for it, and it was painful, I have to tell you. That's a different kind of pain. That's the physical pain. But you see, that
That
pain,
kind of pain is enjoyable once you overcome it.
yes, but what I'm saying is pain is very motivational. I didn't want to spoil it for the others. That wasn't pleasure. Trust me, that was not pleasure.
No, but the pleasure you derive from overcoming that pain, getting to the summit of that mountain, not letting your teammates down.
Yeah,
Now
afterwards.
that
sure.
is pleasurable.
Yeah, afterwards.
knowledge
but it
of
didn't
that-
motivate me to get there.
Yeah, but the knowledge of that pleasure to come.
No. I was in pain. I didn't even think about that. I took 4 steps, had to stop, breathe, like trying to get oxygen into me. Apparently, I was green. I turned green. They wanted to get the helicopter and stuff like that to come and get me.
That would have been an easy way down.
Yeah, I didn't think about that at the time. Flipping out.
Yeah.
You're so pleasure motivated. It's amazing. So what do you think? So you think...
Because from every bit of pain, I think you can derive pleasure. There's some circumstances, maybe not, but in the majority of circumstances, from pain, you can derive pleasure.
I think we agree that it has to be both. But I do think that, especially at the beginning, pleasure is not strong enough to get people moving forward. You need to start with the pain.
Unless the pleasure helps you overcome the pain. Unless the pleasure of overcoming the pain is the motivation.
Yes, but because most people will do more to run away from pain than move towards pleasure. I always start off with the pain. And when they can't tell me the pain, I go, listen, this is not a witch hunt. If you don't have any, you don't have any. Let's focus on more on the pleasure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So then we kind of do both. Let's have a look at this. I don't know whether we can show this, but for the podcast people, what I'll do is I will read this out. This is the paradox of pleasure. Pleasure isn't a trap. It's the fuel behind success. Oh my goodness, they agree with you. Who chose this? Right. We often hear that pleasure is just another form of suffering, that no matter what we get, it's never enough. But here's the flip side. That endless desire is exactly what pushes us forward. If pain keeps us stuck in survival, why does pain keep us stuck in survival? Well, I don't agree with that statement. I think it motivates you out of it. Surely, if you have enough pain, you'll move, right? Oh, and that's the problem. People, they do everything not to feel the pain, drink, go out, party, whatever, until it's too late. And then they have enough pain, but it's too late. And he says, if pain keeps us stuck in survival, pleasure pulls us towards possibility. That's what you're saying.
Pleasure, yeah. Another way of saying that, I think, to simplify it, pain keeps us stuck in survival, but it's capped. Once you survived, you're capped. Pain's not going to motivate you at all again. Or if it does, it's to a minimal extent of the fear of going back into that survival mode. But the pleasure is in perpetuity. You're never, ever going to get to the end of it until obviously you die, in your analogy.
This is a great
But
distinction.
pleasure will always go on. Pleasure will always motivate you.
And quite frankly, surely you want to go to meetings not out of fear and I need this deal. You actually want to be there for pleasurable reasons. It'll make your life worth living.
But then how about this analogy? You go to a meeting and
I'm
you know
agreeing with you. Are you arguing with everything? I am actually agreeing with you.
it's quite
You're
wrong.
sorry for the sake of arguing.
Now I'm
Go
going to put a scenario around you.
Oh yeah, go on.
You're walking into a meeting
Yes.
and you know it's going to be painful. You know the other side of that table is going to be difficult people. They're going to argue with every point you make. And you've got an outcome, but you know it's going to be bloody hard to overcome that. It's a painful meeting by any stretch of the imagination. But you know that if you can get this deal, if you can get them to sign this contract roughly in how you want it done, the pleasure is going to be huge. would you not go into that meeting actually happy
Yes.
and motivated,
Because you've got both. Yeah.
knowing you're going to go and get
Yeah.
that pain, but the pain is inconsequential compared to actually succeeding and getting that deal over the line?
Yes. If you can focus on that beyond the pain that you're feeling. Yes.
We have to focus on it.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to get demotivated.
If you're thank you for adding that. So if you're saying that actually, whether you feel pain or not, try and look at the pleasure side because the outcome will probably be better. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think I like the way you put that. Exactly that.
Do you know, I have to say there are a lot of golden nuggets or distinctions here. I think you could be onto something here. That's really interesting.
I always have the mindset. Another way of putting it, glass half full or glass half empty.
Sure.
My take on life, and I like to think I live my life like this, is glass is always half full. You can walk in, you can be happy, and you can always strive for more. You can always find a reason to continue and to motivate yourself. But if your glass is half empty, you go and, oh God, worst case scenario is going to happen, and oh, that can trip me up.
And the terrible thing about what you're saying there is it could be the same glass. You could have two people looking at the same glass, but they're experiencing something different.
Exactly.
And that's, wow. Okay, let's carry on with this then. So the craving for more is what drives innovation, ambition, and wealth creation. Think about it. Billionaires don't stop once they're comfortable. They keep interesting. Because I was saying my fear was, bloody hell, there's lots of fear there, was that, once, I get comfortable, I'll slow down. But isn't it also a case of knowing yourself? Maybe there are people that will stop and therefore they have stopped and therefore they never became billionaires. Because I think there's a lot of millionaires and multimillionaires that stop.
But then are they happy with their lives and they're content? So the motivation is not about making more money, is actually doing other things and other achievements in life.
Yeah.
Yes,
Or
money
is it just a distraction because, that I can't remember which, I don't know whether this is in the Bible or whatever, but they talk about somebody, who was the ruler of a country offering his daughter to the richest, whoever deserved her kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they all lined up, to race towards the daughter who was over there. But he had laid fine wine and he had laid gold and silver and he had laid all these things and women and along to see who was really worthy of the daughter. And then they raced. And sure enough, one of them went there for the wine, one of them went there for the women. And it was only the true prince, who went to the end. It's kind of a parable.
got the goal.
Yeah. So if you have got, stick with it. Don't get sidelined with what, being comfortable or, because,
True, but then going back to the whole point of this, what motivates you more, but to motivate you to what end?
Yeah, but
Are we talking about money?
Changes over time as well, and
If you're talking about money, I think pleasure may be even capped out because the pleasure of having another pound when you own 10 billion is probably minuscule. Immaterial.
Yeah.
The pleasure of another pound if you only have £2 is going to be immense.
It is immense. Yeah.
But then are we talking about life itself outside of money or including money?
Yeah.
Is what motivates you more, the pleasure or the play? I can't speak, pardon me.
Yeah.
The pain or the pleasure.
Yeah.
Then surely you're going to be, the pain is only to a certain extent and the pleasure is infinite. And you can always gain more pleasure. You can always have more experiences.
Very interesting.
You can meet new people, help more people, earn more money, build more businesses.
Yes. But I mean, they're making the case here that what keeps us moving when fear alone would paralyze us. So it's very, very interesting. I wonder what people listening to this and watching this, what they're kind of thinking and where they would put themselves and what they think is better or worse.
Yeah, can I just pick on that word, the fear paralyzing you? I think it's a different type of motivation. Fear might not be the right type of motivation because I don't think you're going to be in the right mindset to make a good decision if you're thinking through fear.
Very interesting.
If I'm so concerned and overwhelmed with the fact, can I feed my family today? Am I going to make the right decisions?
So maybe it's the great thing to get you into movement, momentum, and once a body is in motion is what I was trying to say. So, but once the body is in motion, that tends to stay in motion, and a better kind of carrot, because we're talking about carrot and stick here, really, might be pleasure. Very interesting. Very interesting debate. So pleasure maybe pulls you forward. It fuels ambition, innovation, and growth beyond survival. But fear keeps you alive. It forces you to protect what you have and avoid risk, maybe.
Yeah, I think that both those statements are right, but one's more powerful than the other. The pleasure is more powerful because it's infinite. the
But
pain
what if
is
you're not that
finite.
person? What if you're not motivated by that? Do you stay where you are, or do you
Everyone's
change your
motivated to a
mindset?
certain extent.
Yeah.
Everyone actually makes the effort, the motivation to lift a glass of water and drink it. There's always an element of motivation in human survival. The extent of that motivation obviously does depend for everyone.
Yes.
Um,
I wonder whether I have really post-traumatic broke syndrome. I'm wondering whether I really need to work on my mindset more, because it just sounds much more pleasurable, to be honest, to be much more, focusing on the pleasure. Interesting.
but I would take that. I think the pleasure and pain together is the right way.
Yes.
The most pleasurable parts
but
of
which
my
one more?
life. I will strive for more pleasure, of course.
Yeah.
But some of the greater moments of my life have involved a huge amount of pain. But the overcoming of that pain has been the pleasure.
Yes.
So I'd say they're more intertwined. They're not sort of standalone, either or. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
What can I ask? What
Interesting. Maybe can I just say? So maybe the pain again builds too much caution. Like I could be a lot further ahead, helping a lot more people, if I would have just embraced more pleasure and seen the glass half full, as you say.
True. So let me ask you this question. What are the most 3 enjoyable moments or events in your life?
Well, obviously it's getting married, meeting my partner, my children eventually, although I didn't want children, but they are amazing. Helping people, when somebody who really doesn't get it, they suddenly get it and they have that light bulb moment. That's what fulfills me. I like fulfillment.
Is it quite painful getting someone who doesn't want the help at first, trying to convince them otherwise, trying to get over their concerns? Is it quite irksome, let's call it?
Definitely, yeah.
So is the pleasure not derived from overcoming that pain?
Yes, eventually, yes. I mean, I have to tell you, I don't know whether this actually is anything which is useful, but I used to, after uni, I went to Geneva and taught English as a foreign language for a year, and I was 22. There were 19-year-olds in the classroom, and they did not want to be there. And I was just like, I never, ever want to work with people who just don't want what I have to offer.
So why do they come to the class?
Because they have to.
Oh, okay, all right.
Whereas here, they pay for me to teach them how to invest.
So your pleasure was actually leaving that classroom
As soon as possible.
So pain can interlink with pleasure then.
Okay, so which is more dangerous? Fear that makes you sell too early if you're an investment, or greed that makes you hold too long? Or is everybody different?
I know you and we've spoken about this before, but I don't think I will ever regret selling at a profit.
You mean the Bitcoin?
I
that
sold
you
Bitcoin
bought?
at 5%.
Do you know what it took
I
to convince this guy to actually buy Bitcoin in the first place? He buys it, and then the next day he comes in with a big cheesy grin on his face. He goes, "That was great." I'm like, "What's great?" "Well, I sold the Bitcoin." I'm like, "What do you mean you sold the Bitcoin?"
I made 5% in one day. Who could not take pleasure from that? Now, I enjoyed that. I was really proud. I was really happy. And thank you very much for the help you gave me to get there. But I made money. How can I not be happy?
Well, I'll tell you
brilliant.
how. I'm going to give you some pain now.
Okay.
If you would have held on to that, while we're recording this, Bitcoin is actually at an all-time high, right? Again, several in the last few days. You would have more than doubled your money. That's 100% as opposed to 5%.
I don't see that as pain. I see that as well done. I made some money. I'm really happy I made the money. Brilliant. Let's embrace it.
You're definitely a half. This is interesting. Half. What is it? The glass half full person.
Because I'm never going to go through life regretting what I didn't do. I'll only ever be happy for what I have done.
Yeah.
It's like I think if you lose someone close to you, I've always thought be happy for the time you had with that person. Don't always be constantly upset that you haven't got more time with them. I'll need to go through life in utter misery.
It does sound like a very healthy philosophy, I have to say.
That's how I try and live my life. And
where did you get that from?
I suppose pain from losing family members when I was younger.
Yeah.
Is we always said.
So pain is good.
Yeah, I turn that pain into something positive.
Right.
I always try to do that.
So this is a real. This is the world, yin and yang, up and down, black and white, left and right. There is no right and no wrong. There's just, it goes in this way and then it comes back the other way, and you can learn from it. It's amazing. Let's go through this, like the pleasure motivated payment. You might be the pleasure motivated. So you read that out. Pleasure motivated.
Pleasure motivated, end goal. motivated by gains and rewards, desire for material possessions, luxury lifestyle, upgrades, or life experiences.
Right. And pain motivated would be motivated by avoiding loss and suffering. So escape from poverty, financial struggle, instability, or traumatic upbringing and event. And that's definitely what motivated me, because I was sleeping on my brother's
Yeah,
floor.
but is that what I think in life you want to go through life being happy? You got one chance at
But
life.
hold on a moment.
Let's go through it being happy.
Because I know you live in a massive house, right? Could it be that you were handed things? So could it be, and I'm not accused, I don't know, right? Could it be that I maybe had more trouble, like I was sleeping on my brother's floor for 6 months? Could it be that's why, and that was a trauma? Do I have trauma? Maybe.
I think you
And you
probably
haven't had that.
No, I've never had to sleep on a floor to survive. And I do, come
You
from
do
a very
it willingly.
privileged. Yeah, I often do it willingly, but I haven't had that pain in life, so it's probably harder for me to, talk to it. So, like yourself, who had to sleep on your brother's floor, and a lot of other people have a lot worse. And that's definitely, me as a person where I'm coming from here.
Yeah.
But I do also think that we might as well live the pleasure in our life as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, but I never want
Be
to go
aware
back
of the
there. I
pain, but
never
don't
want to
live
go
there.
back there, and I'm driven by that. I never want to go. I think I have this post-traumatic bronch syndrome. Okay, let's go to ambition.
So pleasure motivated ambition, focus on growth and expansion, not just survival.
Okay, the pain motivated was so strong drive for financial security and stability, which is 5 times stronger. What about approach?
So pleasure motivated approach, pro.
There's a pro and con,
naturally-
right? There's a pro and con.
There is a pro and a con. Naturally willing to take some risk for bigger rewards in the long term. And the con is I can chase returns recklessly, ignoring the risk, i.e. greed.
Interesting, because you have had quite a risky life.
I have had a
Rowing
risky life.
across the Atlantic.
Yes, I've done plenty of expeditions, which arguably are not the safest things in the world to do.
Can I ask what happened to your finger?
Oh, I severed the tendons of my finger
See,
accidentally.
what and why? Like how? Without going into too much detail.
Without going into too much detail, I was using a knife, and the safety on the knife after you've opened it up failed on me, and it just came back and severed my finger, but not all the way, just the tendons and the nerves. So sew it back together, and jobs are good. Move on. As in move on with it. I'm not going to look back and get worried about it.
Okay, and the pain motivator would be cautious and steady approach to limit mistakes and big risks, because I would never put myself in that situation, because I know what you would
But
do.
then, are you living a life?
This is a really good discussion about it. I'm just wondering. But that's the pro. But the con is fear can cause paralysis, i.e. not investing at all or cutting profits short or not living your full life. I think
Exactly.
that's what I'm kind of...
But as an individual should decide what a full life is to them.
Mm.
But I've done some things where, yes, I was willing to suffer the ultimate, expeditions where people don't come back from.
But let me
And I
ask you a question.
wanted-
You're the kind of person that would jump out of an airplane with a parachute, without a parachute?
With a parachute.
With a parachute.
Hated it though, but yes.
Okay. I wouldn't do that because I have children. And if there is even a small chance, then people say, yeah, but you might get run over by a bus. But that's not my choice. It will be my choice.
Jumping out of
To
an
jump out
airplane
of
is
an
not
airplane.
that dangerous in today's world. It's just
I
an
have
adrenaline
had
buzz if you
Syria, who one of our traders, say that a friend of his with his wife was waiting to be the next to go up. 2 people went up on an airplane. They watched them go. They went, poof. And they went, yeah, no, we're not going to do it. Although I would say,
unlucky. But then
unlucky, they're dead.
But how many times have you driven along the road? No. But it's not
I
context.
actually would. Do you know what I would have done? I would have gone up because the probability
It's probably so slow.
is
Yep.
so low because they're
Yeah,
parachutes.
exactly that.
Do you know what I would do? I know this is a bit cautious, but I would do it. I would do it if I had one, a parachute.
Yep.
And I would do it in a tandem. The instructor had one, and I had a spare one because the probability of 3 not opening is you'd have more chance of winning the
I
lottery.
don't think it's physically possible for you.
Strap it on my leg.
That'd be a rather awkward parachute jump.
It's an awkward.
But no, so I'd like to make a point here. You made the point of the parachuting and in Syrian's
Yeah.
example that the people the parachute didn't open.
Horrific. I'm never
But
doing it.
I think most people in this world who drive
Mhm.
have driven past road accidents where probably there's been a fatality involved.
Sure.
Incredibly sad.
Sure.
But even yesterday, I'm 25, I think it was a terrible crash. 2 cars were burned to a cinder. And I hope to God no one was hurt, but I suspect, sadly, someone probably was.
Mm.
So we see this day in, day out. So it's not, you get run over by a bus tomorrow,
Mhm.
because that's actually more common than dying in a
But
parachute
that is in
accident.
my control.
So you a control freak?
I think I do like control. Yeah, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I definitely I like to control things. Yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily a good thing, but that's just me.
Okay.
Because I can choose to be on the left lane and go 70 miles an hour on the motorway, or I can go on the right lane.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fair
let's
enough.
move on. Do we agree then? Both can contribute towards driving long-term success, but yours sounds more fun.
I agree, but I think to a different extent, and mine is a lot more fun. I just think enjoy your life.
Yeah.
It's just like I probably haven't got the best, what's the guy? I don't eat the best foods in the world. But I enjoy my life. I enjoy eating my cheeseburger rather than eating a salad every day.
Yeah.
And if it makes me live a year or two less in my life, you know what? I'm going to enjoy my life.
Yeah. But can I just say that that's good? You are successful and you enjoy your life. So we are kind of comparing apples to apples. There are too many, this is just my opinion. There are too many people out there that won't do whatever it takes in order to provide for their family properly and their children.
That's sad.
Well, that to me, I don't necessarily think life is there to be enjoyed. I know that's not very popular and everyone's going to be, that's the popular vote. I understand that. For me, I'm there to make sure that my family is safe and stable. Anything else is extra.
But that's enjoyment. Seeing your family stable and your children fed and educated. Surely that's one of that's probably the most motivational and enjoyable things in this world.
I don't know whether it's
And I have two
enjoyable, but it
fathers.
definitely is motivational.
I take great pleasure in seeing my kids thriving, being educated,
yeah.
being fed, having their needs
But
met.
my point is
Makes me
that
incredibly
it's
proud.
fine because we're both successful financially. But what I'm saying is a lot of people say, well, life's too short. I'm just going to enjoy myself. They never got up there asked to actually do something, to build something, to help other people, to serve their family, to make sure their children are well brought up. So they're just out there having fun. So I don't agree with that. So to me, look, it's about balance. It's about balance. You're just a little bit more, 51% more towards the pleasure, which I think is
Perhaps.
great. And then you can cut off your finger and stuff like that. Fine. Okay. So pain, stronger in the short term? I would say yes. I'm sorry.
I'll let you have that one.
Yeah.
I think it's probably about the same.
I disagree.
I think
I'm not even going to agree to disagree. I disagree. Pleasure, though, could sustain in the long term. That is something.
100%.
That's really
Pain you can overcome.
Yeah.
But pleasure is infinite.
I might change my mindset around that. No, not might. I'm gonna look into that.
I think, yeah.
Too much pain focus could be fear and inaction. That's bad. I think that too much pain keeps you maybe stuck.
And it's also irrational. I think pain will
It's
make
rational.
irrational.
Uh-huh.
I think pain can make your thinking and your decision making irrational.
Right. You might make the better decision, like the meeting that you went into.
Exactly that. Exactly that analogy.
So is the solution to recognize your bias, like I know what my bias is and I know what your bias is, and build rules and systems that balance both?
That would be the correct solution in this instance, yes. Now, it's easy to say in theory.
Yeah. No. But we actually have a money management system, which we've adapted from the great T. Harv Eker.
Yep.
We call them the pots now. And you have a pod, which is your kind of like, having fun pot.
Yeah, okay.
And that you have to spend that money, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so there's two things you can do now. If you want to master your motivation, and it's so important because people say, I can't motivate myself, I can't motivate. Well, find out what motivates you. Is it pain or is it pleasure?
Or both.
Okay, but which one more? So there's two books. The Lunchtime Trader, which is about stocks, the Lunchtime Investor, which is about crypto, so you can get them below. But also, as always, it is the money system, the money management system, which allows you to actually, it's a pleasure pot, really.
Yeah.
You have to spend that money, and I really struggle with that.
Really?
I really struggle to spend the money.
What, spending the fun pot?
Yeah,
So what do you do when you don't spend it?
I invest it.
But that gives you pleasure.
That does give me pleasure. That does give me.
So that is still a fun
That
pot
does
for
give
you.
me pleasure. It's not quite as fun. It gives you pleasure, but it's not. It's fulfilling, but it's not fun. But it's fulfilling. There's a difference. Wow.
I'll help with that.
Distinctions.
I can
Yeah,
help with
everybody says that. I'll help you with that. So final thoughts. Pain screams louder than pleasure, but disciplined investors train themselves to use both.
That's an interesting one. But why, if you were to agree with the analogy that pain may have caused irrational thinking and decision making, why would you still want to use the pain?
because I still ascertain that pain, to move away from pain, people will do more. Let's say it's warm in here, and we say, gosh, we could move into another room, but we'd have to dismantle everything here. It'll take an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. Most people would rather say, let's just stay here, sweat. But if there was a fire in here, James, how far? You probably not, you'd stick your finger in. But most people, they would run away from the pain. People do more, I ascertain, to run away from pain than they will to move towards pleasure.
No, but you gave quite a finite, there's a fire, everyone's going to move out. It's an hour to move all of this just for another 5 minutes in heat. I think they're quite extreme examples.
Yes, well, I was giving an extreme
I know.
example to make the point.
To make your point, to benefit your point. But I think it in the other way is if it took us 5 minutes to move everything next door and we had another hour on the
5 minutes it would take.
Hypothetically, if it's 5 minutes
Have you bet the team?
and we would go next door and drink pina coladas by the sunset on the beach, we would all go and do that. Whereas if there was a little matchstick being lit in here with a fire, that's not going to be enough to make us move out quickly, is it? So, I think you need to put it in context. I think in the whole, it's the extent of the pain, the extent of the pleasure. But I do think what's important is pain can cause irrational thinking and irrational decision making. I've been there and made some bad decisions when I've been in pain, big mistakes in my life. Whereas the pleasure, you're always on the bright side, always looking forward. Pain can make you look back.
This is interesting because the great T. Harv Eker, my friend and mentor, he's amazing. He has always said, when you go after your goal, do it out of purpose and joy,
Yes.
not fear and greed.
I love that. I
Amazing.
love that saying.
I tell you, this is why we have James back. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. I would shake your hand, but I'm not going to.
See, no pleasure there.
I can left hand
It's
shake.
just pain. So we always say never quit, because if they can do it, if we can do it, you can do it too. So I hope you enjoyed that. We look forward to seeing you on the next Lunchtime Investor Show. See you then.
Thank you.